Well, howdy ho, stampers. Welcome back to my studio. This is Deb Valder, and today I want to show you the super simple way to watercolor. It's so very easy. I use my markers. Let's get started. I'm happy to have you back. So the first thing that we're going to do is to bring in our little Misty here, and I'm going to use, like I said, I'm going to use some markers. And the first thing I want to do is to color the whole thing in. So I'm going to take two colors. I'm going to take my chocolate marker, and I'm going to just color the whole thing with my chocolate marker. This is such an easy way to do this. Now the reason I do this, and you don't have to do it this way, you can use a black or any color ink pad, brown, whatever. The reason I'm doing that is because I want to bring in some of these colors into my piece. So I'm just going to quickly just cover this up with my brown, and then I'm going to go over it with my blue. Now combining the two of these in this order is going to give it a little gray look. If I did it the opposite way, if I did the brown last and the blue first, it would give me more of a brown look, but I want to go for that weathered look in Cape Cod. All right, so I'm just going to cover all that up. Now I'm going to take a scrap piece of paper here and just clean off, and this is really important. Do you see how it made my blue marker gray? But you can see as I'm cleaning it off that the blue is starting to come back. Very, very, very important. All right, so let's see. That side is good. That side needs a little bit more work. Let's see, here we go. All right. So we've got our blue marker back to its original state, and we're just going to take and stamp this down. Now I'm going to take my brand new STAMPendable and just press it down. It gives it a much more even flow. Okay, I find that I need a couple more spots, just a little bit more on the spots right here in the middle. So I'm just going to take that part of it and do the exact same thing. Just color it all up. Take my blue that I just cleaned off. There we go, and we're just going to, I'll clean it off again after, but for right now, let's just take and, there we go. Much better. You see how pretty that looks? All right, so we're done with this. Let's take this off. Very easy to clean up. And just set this aside because we're going to use it again for our sentiment. All right, so now we have our watercolor piece. I'll trim this down after I get it all watercolored in, but for right now, we're just going to start working away. So what I do is I like to just pick a couple of different colors. The colors can be brought in from, let me just show you. This right here is our accessory kit. It's got the palette, it's got some watercolor papers, it's got some basic colors, including that blue and brown. It's got your watercolor brush, a number 4 brush, and like I said, it's absolutely phenomenal. That's the way I start. I also have 2 sets that I work from, Bonnie's Favorite 1 and Bonnie's Favorite 2. And I just love the colors that are in here. So those are what I work from. I just grabbed a couple of these besides my 2 basic ones right here. I just grabbed a couple of my markers, and we're going to do pink flowers on this one. But you also need your little palette, so let's grab that. And we're going to take and use this to color on. I'm going to get my number 1 and my number 4. I also have my number 6, and I have my 1-inch flat, but we're not going to use those today. Let's just take the number 4 to start with. Starting up here at the top, I'm going to start with my sky, and I'm just going to take a blue. I'm going to scribble it onto my palette right here. I'm going to grab the little dish that I have, and my watercolor, and all of these things are in the shop. This is the little flower palette. We also have a paw palette, and this is our silicone dispenser. I like this because it's great for your scrap or your stamp or scrapbook room, and because of the size of it. All right, so now we're going to just wet our brush, and I'm going to take and add some of this. Now that's a really dark blue, so I'm going to add a little bit more color or more water to lighten it up. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to work from the inside out because I want the outer part to be lighter. I want the inner part by the grass to be a little bit darker. So easy. All right, and now remember, this is a watercolor piece, so nothing has to be perfect. And what I'm doing right now is just kind of scrubbing in the color and fading it out as I go here. Okay. We don't want that line to be a definite line, and it really dries so pretty. There. So there's our sky. Done, 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 done. You also need a paper towel. So I'm just going to grab my paper towel here and wipe that off. Now we're going to work on just the sand dunes. All right, and the grass looks a little bit dead, so we're going to just take our number 992. Okay, this is our sand marker. I'm going to use a lot of that, so I'm going to just bring in my color. And it's also going to be picked up by what is here. See, so if I just take and I'm just dabbing it, I'm not scrubbing it in, I'm just dabbing it. Okay, bringing those two colors together. Isn't this easy? So easy, so easy. Now I'm also going to be adding some of the color that I just put onto my little palette right here. This is a little bit lighter, but right now all it's doing is picking up the color from the sand dunes. All right, so just work in between the two of these. Where else do we want some little bit of color? See how I'm not scrubbing it in, I'm just kind of dabbing it. There we go. See, left some white inside there. We can go back and adjust where we need to. I'm going to kind of marry these two together, the sky and the... There we go. So pretty already, right? All right, now let's work on, I'm going to make these flowers pink, so I'm just going to grab, I just grabbed some colors. It doesn't, you know, they didn't have to be whatever, you know, they're just pretty, pretty colors. All right, so this is pretty bright, so let's just grab this, and I don't want this to be too wet. My brush is a little bit too wet, so I'm going to take my number 1 brush and do my flowers because I don't want my brush to be too wet. Here we go. We're just going to kind of dab in some color. I'll go back in and add a little bit of green. You don't want your brush to be too wet because you see how I did this right here? It just kind of got ahead of me. So I'm just going to dab that. When it's dry, I'll add some pink to that and it'll cover up nicely. And that's where, if you're not comfortable with the colors mixing together, or you see a lot of blob, just stamp it with a permanent black ink pad, and then you can graduate from there. All right, so just for the time being, try doing that. if you're having trouble, like I said, with the colors blending in too much like I had right here. All right, sometimes it's good to show a mistake because then you can show how to correct it. All right, so I used my smaller #1 brush on that, and you could see the difference, totally different. I'm going to go back to my clean that off really good. I'm going to go back to my #4 brush, and I'm just going to add a little bit more of the sand dunes around in through here. Again, your brush doesn't want to be too wet. You can always pinch it off. Okay, I'm just going to kind of put a little bit of sand dunes in through here just to bring in all of this together. All right, and then let's do some green. All right, so I've got my 177. It's in one of those kits. I love this green. And then we're going to take and add some more water, pinch it off, and let's get some green into these trees right in through here. All right, so we've got some green trees over here. You know, you can add them wherever you want to. We've got some green trees right in through here. And I'm just dabbing. I'm not coloring. I'm just dab, 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 dab. Okay? There we go. See? Alrighty. These are the little bushes behind the fence here. So let's get them. They go all the way down, obviously. We're going to add a few of them to our piece right in through there, all of our little leaves and our flowers. So you know what? You don't even have to know where they are. You can just kind of dab some in here and there. We're making this little bush right here, this little shrubbery. And then we'll go back with our #1. Good for now. We can always go back and dab it up afterwards if we find that we're missing something. Okay, so when I go to dry my brush, I always kind of just roll it to get that point back in there, because there's nothing worse than a crazy haired brush. All right, so let's just grab this, wipe off some of your water, okay, and let's just dab in some green here and there. We are almost done with this. See what I mean? It's fast, it's easy, and it's so fun to do. Let's see if this is dry enough to take the color. I think it is. Okay. There we go. A little bit more in the middle here. What that does is just gives it a little bit of color. There. Here's our flowers. All right, so now let's start working on, how about our chair? So with our chair, I'm going to go back to my #4, okay? And we're just going to literally, look at, the color is already there. Remember, this is all done with marker, watercolor markers. I'm going to show you how to get some added dimension to it in just a moment. Okay, I'm going to take and just run this down here. I'm going to do the same thing to this little wicker table right here. Get a little bit of color in there. But again, I'm really just taking the color from the outline. So that's where the advantage to using markers and putting it in here rather than doing the black. But if you're new, you're starting out, then what I want you to do is just start with the black ink pad and then graduate to this right here. I think you're going to be a little bit happier. I'm just going to take a warm gray marker right here and add that to my weathered chair. Okay. I'm just going to add a little bit of gray to it just to show that it's a little bit older. Okay, and where I'm putting the darkers are where the shadows are. Okay, so just kind of figure that out. Normally where two pieces come together. There. Okay. Good. See, you don't want to overdo it. You don't want to color the whole thing in. You see how I'm leaving some white? Now let me go back, take my marker, and I'm going to add just a little bit more color to it. So I'm just going to add just a little bit, not a whole lot, to the places. Again, the beauty of using your markers, and I use everything. I use watercolor pans. I use everything, but you know, every now and then you just want to go back. See, I just added just a little bit of shadow on those. Okay, you see how it stands out just a little bit more? There we go. There we go. All right, let's take and work on some of our posts now. Again, using this little gray right here. And not a whole lot, just to let people know that it's not pure white. Okay. And just kind of slide it down. There we go. And also, if you get it too wet, then what's going to happen is you're going to end up bringing in too much of the color of the outline. All right, not a problem if you're using your black ink, but it could be very well a problem with if you're using the markers on the outline of it. Okay, so let's just do a little bit of light. And remember, watercolor is about the bleeding and the, I don't know, just the, it's just different. It's not your same. Let's do a little bit of too white up here for me. We don't want the whole thing colored in. All right, just blending in some of the lines here. There we go. Pretty much done. That's pretty much the whole thing right there. Now let's just put this card together. So super easy. And like I said, your colors, I'll go back and clean up all my markers. It's just an easy piece. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to cut this down so it will fit onto my card. I like to work on a bigger piece just so that we have everything together. All right, so I'm just going to cut this down. I'm going to leave a little bit of an outline all the way around. And you see, I'm not even really measuring. All right, we've got our little outline right here. And we're ready to start putting it together. So this little piece right here is from the beach scene, and it is just an adorable little one single stamp. I just absolutely love it. You've got some ideas on how to color also on this little piece right here. And now what we're going to do is just take our A2 card. This would be awesome on a Slimline, but I use Slimlines all the time, and I wanted to show you something really clever. So our Slimline die that I used is the Trellis cover plate. Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And I had the entire piece. And what I do is I keep the extra pieces that I cut off. So this was actually a long piece. Now there are some of you that are so shy about doing Slimline cards. I'm going to tell you, Slimline cards are the bomb. I absolutely love them. All right, so what I like to do is I like to adapt them to my A2 cards so that my friends that haven't switched over or incorporated the Slimline cards, they can also use these too. So you've got double the whammy for your dies and your stamps. Do not, you know what I'm trying to say. Do not use Slimline stamps, dies, and embossing folders, because like I said, they are universal. They can be used on all cards. Just love them. So like I said, what I did was I cut these off, I throw them in here, and then I'll cut these off and use them on my cards. You've seen me do that. You've seen me use my remnants, okay? So I'm just gonna put those in there. I have this piece right here. I have used our strips. We have them in black and we have them in white. They're awesome. And all I did was do it down the long side. I didn't have to do it along the short sides. So now what we're gonna do is just lift these up and start to add it to my card, my A2 card. I'm gonna, like I said, I'm not doing a Slimline. I'm doing an A2 card. I think I forgot this one right here. This is such a pretty die. I just love it. I've used it quite a bit, but I thought it really added to the Adirondack-y look of this card. So now what I'm going to do is just add this to my card. And now I'm going to add this to my card right here. And all I'm going to do is glue this. I'm going to take and put a little bit of glue right here. And then I'm going to put it all the way down. Let's see how far it goes down. Okay, we're going to go there to about right here. Okay, and then go right down the centers because we know it's going to fill in there. It's going to go over the top there. We sell so much of this glue. Our deluxe glue, it's on back order right now. You want to put it in your cart so that when we get it back in, you will be first in the queue to get it. It's awesome for little things like this. Always make sure you put the top back on, and we are good to go. All right, so we're going to go from this one to this one. What I love about this one is that we can kind of slip and slide and make sure everything is it's not so permanent until you get it to where you want it to be, and then it's permanent. All right, so we're going to just slide that onto there right there. We're going to just flatten it out, and now we're going to do our words. So for this one right here, I used the Live, Laugh, and Love, and I used it, whoops, let's get this up a little bit higher. See how it's very forgiving? I love that. All right. Okay, people come back for this so much. We cannot ever keep it in stock. It is just amazing. And like I said, it is just gorgeous, okay? Now what we're going to do is to take our words. And the words are going to be coming from a set that I've been using a lot, okay? It's called Simple Sentiments, and it's got, oh, so many words. I love the little banner look, but it also has a coordinating die set. And what I do is I cut them all out. I just add them to my pack, and then I just use them as I need them. You can cut individual ones if you want, but I just love, absolutely love having extras on hand because then I can just grab and go. So for this one right here, I'm going to use a birthday wish. Actually, I'm going to use the Make Great Memories. And then on the inside, I will do a birthday wish, okay? Because the outside of this is just, let's make sure it's going to fit into the one that I picked here. Perfect. Okay. So, let's get our little pad right here back in here because I'm using a clear stamp. Okay. And fits perfectly side to side, up and down. Okay. And there we go. Alrighty, so first thing that we're going to do is take our Wow ink and ink that down. And then we're going to take our black ink and perfect. All right, now that's going to go right inside this little piece right here. Let me just wash my hands because I used my photopolymer stamps and I washed them right after. Okay. Alrighty, now what we're going to do, like I said, is to take this, and it fits perfectly into my little frame. And then I'm going to take my 1/8 inch tape and just add that. And that's gonna do two things. It's gonna hold in my little sentiment, and it's also gonna take and add it to my card. Okay, super easy. We have the double-sided tape in 1/8 inch, which is amazing, and we also have it in the standard 1/4 inch. So let's take this, take our pokey tool, burnish it down, and then it just lifts right up. There we go. And then we're just going to add that to our piece right here. All right, and I like to leave it so that it has a little bit of the trellis showing right there. And that is our card for today. Isn't that gorgeous? I used some different colors on this. I brought out more of the dark sand in here, but did you see how fast that was? Absolutely gorgeous and super easy. I hope you enjoyed my post for today. You take care. Have a great day. Remember to subscribe. Click on the little bell so you get every video that we do right as it comes out. Make sure that you share this with your friends and hit the thumbs up button. We love having you stop by. Take care and have a great day.